Zeekr, Xpeng and Deepal. These are new names for Australian drivers and they're new names for me as well. I've been a road tester for more than 10 years and I've driven more than 1,000 cars in that time. Haven't driven any of these before, so let's go and take them all for a drive and see what they're like on Australian roads. This is a Zeekr. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Zeekr. It's part of the Geely Group, which is a massive Chinese group that owns Volvo and Polestar and Smart and a few other companies like that. It's an impressive thing. It has a lot of Volvo DNA underneath the skin. Basically, it's made on the same production line as some Volvo and Polestar models, and they just change out the bodywork and other bits to suit. You might hear a bit of beeping in some of these cars. They all have driver assistance systems in them that are here to make sure that you're safe on the road. They all beep and bong, and you're going to hear that as we are driving them. Now, this is the most powerful car of the trio. It's got 200 kilowatts, which lets it do 100 k's an hour in just under 6 seconds. That's pretty punchy performance, not too bad. The Zeekr is the most expensive here at about $63,000 drive away. You get about 450 kilometers of driving range, and it ticks a lot of boxes. Although you will see this car has less equipment than some of its rivals. It doesn't have a panoramic sunroof or heated seats and that sort of stuff for this price. Those are features that you will find in the rival vehicles we've assembled here. What's interesting to me is how similar all of these cars are. They're three different cars from different brands, but they all have a very similar approach. They all have a massive digital display here that controls many key features for the cars. They all have frameless doors. They all have, very similar approaches to even things like the steering wheels, these two-spoke steering wheels with minimal labeling on the buttons and whatnot. It's funny to see how similar these cars are. And none of them even have conventional door handles, either on the outside or the inside. They are strange vehicles. But this Zeekr X, not a bad one.
My name is Deepal. You can call me anytime and anywhere.
So the Deepal S07, interesting car this. It comes from a very, very new brand. If you haven't heard of a Deepal before, that's because the brand has only been around for a couple of years. It's part of Chang'an Auto, which is a massive Chinese group that has its history in military stuff, actually. They used to build rifles and things, and then they built four-wheel drives and Jeeps and whatnot for the army, and now they make this, the Deepal S07 electric car. Now, this thing is brought into Australia by Inchcape, which is the same company that handles brands like Subaru and Peugeot and Citroen. Now, I am looking down the road. I am driving within my lane, and this car beeps, it beeps, it beeps, it beeps a lot. It's the most beeping, bonging car that I've ever driven, which is saying something because cars these days really do this a lot. Again, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking down the road and it is going to go off quite a bit. It's a very sensitive system, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Deepal change that over time and fix it so that the car is easier to live with. Certainly pretty bloody hard to do a piece to camera in this thing without it bonging at you. Anyway, so it is not related to other cars. It doesn't share its bits with a Volvo or a Volkswagen or anything like that. It is less powerful than the others. It has around 160 kilowatts of power, a little bit less range than the other vehicles in this group as well, but you certainly do get a lot of stuff. For about $58,500 drive away, it's loaded up with gear, including your panoramic sunroof and your heated and cooled seats and a premium stereo and all that sort of kit. You certainly do get plenty of stuff for your money. And it's reasonably well put together as well. It does make a strong first impression, particularly when it introduces itself to you every time you open the car door.
My name is Deepal. Why not introduce me, your smart assistant, to your friends?
Okay. Hi, Deepal.
Right here.
Whoa. Yep, not sure I would ever get used to that. But hey, the Deepal S07 does things a little bit differently. The Xpeng, named after company founder He Xiaopeng. It's basically a shortened version of his name at the end of the car. And do you know what? He's basically followed in the footsteps of Henry Ford, Ferruccio Lamborghini, Enzo Ferrari by creating a car and naming it after himself. Why not? This thing is not related to other massive vehicles. It's not part of Geely. It's not part of Inchcape. It's kind of a smaller operation that has big, lofty ambitions. Now, first impressions are pretty strong. The car doesn't yell at you when you get into it. And listen, we're driving along. There's minimal beeping. There's minimal bonging. It is doing a good job here. I am watching the road ahead and driving in the middle of my lane, and the car doesn't have anything to say about it. That's good. That's reason enough to consider this car over the Deepal particularly, which is an absolute punish to drive without turning off all the systems every time you get into the car. Now, this thing has a little bit less power than the Zeekr, but it is the fastest to charge out of the trio. That has got to go in its favor. Definitely fast charging is a nice thing if you have an EV. Now, Xpeng is a very small, very new company. They've recognized that people might not be too sure about that. So if you buy one right now in January 2025, you get a 10-year warranty, which brings plenty of peace of mind that if anything does go wrong, you'll be looked after. The question I have though, will Xpeng be around in 10 years? I don't know. There are a lot of these new brands coming along, and I'm not sure that all of them are going to remain with us for that entire time. Maybe this one will. Look, it's an impressive car, sold at a great price, about $57,000. Drive away, it's not a bad thing. Will they all make it? Will all of these Chinese brands have the power to stay in a competitive market and really find their place with Australian consumers? I'm not sure that they will, but it's certainly an interesting exercise to get behind the wheel and try them out. Xpeng G6.
Hi.
Whoa! Hi. This one's about 58 grand, 430 kilometers of range.
Could you please say it in another way? I'm not sure I understood correctly.
No.
Hello.
Whoa! Hi.
This function does not support voice commands at the moment.
Okay. Look, there's a lot going on in here.
I didn't catch that.
Whoa!
Please try saying it in a different way.
Go away!
This function does not support voice commands at the moment.
Oh my god.
This function does not support voice commands at the moment.